All right, I'm going to be demoing how to install the iPhone mirroring program from Bridging Voice. Here on my screen that I'm sharing, you can see that I have on the right side our guide for installing the iPhone or iPad mirroring. And on the left side, I am remoted into my eye tracking communication device so that I can do the setup on the device. In addition to this, I have my iPhone USB data cable, which you can see listed here. My iPhone uses a lightning port, so I have lightning to USB. Note that for some people who have a newer iPhone or iPad, you may actually need the USB-C to USB-A cord. So make sure you're getting the correct cable for um, the device that you're using. And then you also want to make sure that it's a data cable and not just a charging cable. It needs the ability to transmit data between the device and the phone. I also have my USB dongle here, you can see. So that's ready to go. And I also have my Apple ID for downloading the Visor app. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So to begin with the first instructions here, I'm going to install the mirroring program or Visor on the communication device, the eye tracking device. So I will open up a internet browser here and I will go to visor.io. I'll click download, choose Windows, and then download the install. You can see here that the installer is downloading. I'm going to go ahead and run it. Okay, and it has finished installing. So I'm going to go to step 3, which is to click on Apple mobile device support here, and then choose to download Apple mobile device support 64.msi. Again, it will download here, and then I'm going to open the installer, click through everything and let it install. There we go, it's finished. So now step 6, close browsers and Visor. I'll X out of this and I'll X out of the Visor program. Using the data cable, plug the phone into the USB port and I will plug into my phone. Okay, so now that they're plugged in, you can see that the eye tracking device has noticed that my iPhone is plugged in. You can't see it on the screen itself, but a pop-up did appear and I'm choosing trust this computer on the phone to give it permission. Now I will start Visor and confirm I can see the red play button. Start Visor on the SGD, I should say, and here it is. The play button is there. Note in the instructions, we're not to press the button yet. First, we need to install and start mirroring on the phone. So I will first download the Visor app from the App Store. Again, you can't see this as I do it on my phone, but I will open the App Store, type in VYSOR. Note that sometimes when you search for the app, it autocorrects to VISOR, so make sure that it's not doing that. It's using VYSOR, and it's downloading now. Okay, and now I will open the app, open the Visor app on my phone, and then as it says here, tap the circle at the bottom, the button near the bottom of the screen. So I'll tap the circle and tap Start Broadcast. Okay, my phone now says that it's broadcasting, so I'll go ahead and touch the red play button on the Visor app on the communication device. And here you can see my screen. Note, sometimes when this opens, for the first time, you will get a prompt to calibrate your screen here. And note in the instructions that if it does ask you to calibrate in Visor, it'll be a green pop-up. And you want to say, you want to cancel and don't calibrate within Visor. We're going to do a calibration using the iOS program from Bridging Voice. So now that my phone screen is mirroring, oh, just to show you quick, here's what the Visor app looks like when you open it. And here's the circle button at the bottom that you're pressing to start broadcasting. So mine is already, that's why it says stop. But when you're not broadcasting, you'll see start broadcast here. Okay, so I'm going to go onto the SGD and download the iOS controller program, which is the Bridging Voice program that allows you to control your phone using eye tracking. You will typically go to a web page. This web page may be updated. So you'll go to a public web page to download this installer. For now, I am going to use a link that I have for the current version and download it here. Okay, the program has finished downloading, so now I will open and run it. Next, next, and we will create a desktop shortcut and install. Okay, now that it's finished, I'll go ahead and close my browser and move this over so we can see that it has now, oops, sorry about that. We can see that it has now installed the iOS Control Desktop shortcut. And as the instructions say, I'm going to go ahead and open that. The first time you install the program, you will need to enter an email. This is just to register the app, but you won't be put onto a mailing list. It's just to make sure you have the most updated version of this software. Activate. Okay, now you can see here that I have my Visor screen mirroring my phone, and I have the iOS control program from Bridging Voice. At the bottom, it's saying that the dongle is missing and the iOS device isn't connected yet. So going back to the instructions, that's what we'll do next. First, we're going to set up the dongle. So I will take the dongle and plug it into the USB port on my Tobii. Note that there is a small button on the dongle, but you don't need to press that button at all. You can just plug it in without pressing that. All right. My dongle is now plugged in. Okay. So next step is to go to settings in the iOS program here on the left, and then click on the dongle tab here across the top and choose update dongle. And you'll be able to see here when it's running that some text moves across the screen to let you know that it's working. There we go. The dongle update has finished and the dongle is found. So now I'm going to move to the next steps of setting up the iPhone Bluetooth settings to connect my phone to this dongle. So I'm going to go ahead and swipe to get out of the Visor app, open up my settings, and go to Bluetooth. And then here in the list, you can see that the Bridging Voice AT has already connected, and that's because I've connected before. But the first time, you will need to touch it in order to tell it to connect to your phone. And then once it gets connected, you'll see over here on the iOS program that it says iOS device, Abigail's iPhone is now connected. If note in the instructions that after you pair it, if you notice that you don't see it under My Devices, you may need to, or if you have more than one showing, you may need to turn the Bluetooth off and back on to clear them out and then try to pair with it again. Okay, so once you're paired to the dongle, the next step is to adjust the settings in the phone to set up assistive touch. So here I'm going to go through these, each of these settings. I'm going to go back to settings and choose accessibility. and then tap on touch, and then tap on assistive touch at the top. And here I can turn it on with the toggle bar. Next, I'm going to scroll down and find tracking sensitivity. My assistive touch menu has been customized, so I'm going to say no here, but we will have some information about options for how to customize the assistive touch menu in our instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and slide down to the tracking sensitivity, which you can see here is the slider with the turtle and the hair, and we want it to be at about 50%. So I'll slide it over. And then finally, I'm going to look at the dwell control here and turn that off. So those are the settings under accessibility, touch, and assistive touch. Next, I'll go back to settings, and I'll again choose accessibility, but this time I'm looking for pointer control. Note that when the Bluetooth dongle is not connected, you won't see pointer control as an option in here. It hides that option, but because my Bluetooth dongle is connected, I can choose pointer control here. Increased contrast is already turned off, as it should be, and automatically hide pointer is also turned off. So those are the settings we need here. Next, I'm going to go to the color settings and make sure that my color is set to yellow. And then I'm also going to set the border width to the max here. So make it as wide as possible. So those are all the settings under pointer control and pointer control color. So finally, I'm going to go back to the settings again, the main settings menu, and I'm going to move to general and then trackpad and mouse. And again, this may not show unless you are connected to the dongle. And here for the tracking speed, I'm going to make sure that it's turned all the way to 0 down by the turtle. Finally, I'm going to go back to settings and to display and brightness. And I'm going to turn my auto lock setting to never. And then all my settings have been adjusted. You can see here in the instructions that there is one additional setting when you're setting up an iPad for mirroring. This doesn't apply on iPhone. So make sure if you're using an iPad, you do also change the pointer control animations to be off. All right, now that all these settings have been adjusted, it's time to calibrate. So in order to do that, the iPhone mirroring window must be fully unobstructed. So what that means is on the SGD, make sure that the mirroring window here is the top thing and it's clicked on. And then the phone needs to be on a screen where there's no yellow color because it's going to try to look for that yellow pointer. And so one screen where you can do that is in settings, open up general, and then about. And this screen has no color. And so it won't pick up any yellow. Next, I'm going to go to the iOS control program over here. And under settings, I'm going to click on the mouse tab. And then I'm going to click on auto calibrate. And again, you can see here it's reminding you that the pointer must be the only yellow, and then it's going to check the phone orientation and run the other calibration steps, which will all be displayed in the text on the left side, and you'll see when it finishes. All right, you can see it saved the calibration, and the calibration has been finished. So the final thing is to test if the calibration was accurate by clicking around in the mirrored phone screen. So I'm going to take my mouse here and I'm going to click on the M in model, and you can see the yellow moved right to it. Next, I'm going to click on the 8 in the 8,513 photos. I'm going to click on the A in Abigail. Let's go back. And I'm going to click on the A in available. So you can see that where I'm clicking is accurate and the pointer is moving to where I'm clicking. You can also see that I'm now able to control my phone using my mouse. So when I click on things, it's activating those on my screen. So now the iPhone is ready to be used with iPhone mirroring. I'll go to my assistive touch button and click on home. You can also use our home screen button here if you're in the settings, and the person can use their eye tracking to get to the home screen this way. They can also use these left and right arrows to swipe between the screens on their phone. And otherwise, they'll either use their Windows Access software from Communicator 5 or Grid 3 or another Windows software, or in this case, TD Control is turned on my eye tracker. And so I'm going to go ahead and activate the TD Control just so I can show you a little bit about controlling the phone using my eye. All right, you can see my traces here. So one thing is I might want to minimize my visor window so that this background visor window, so that all I see is my phone screen. That can reduce some of the clutter. I can also close out of the settings window. You do need to have both visor and the iOS control program running in order to control the phone with eye tracking. But once you're here, you can really navigate around your phone to get to all kinds of things. So if I want to open Safari, I'm going to look at it and use TD Control to click. That will open up a window. Oh, I was on my Bridging Voice website. And then I can also scroll using the TD Control scrolling. So if I look in the center of the screen, and I choose scrolling. Now, if I look towards the top and the bottom, this isn't a very long web page, so it doesn't have far to go. But if I look towards the top and the bottom, I can go ahead and scroll around. If the scroll is moving too quickly, there are settings to adjust how fast the scroll moves. Those are under settings. And then here you can see the scrolling speed, and then if it's flipped. What flipped means is if you're looking up and it's scrolling down, or you're looking down and it's scrolling up, so it's scrolling the opposite direction than you expect, you're going to want to change the check mark for flipped. And then if it's scrolling too quickly, that's where someone may want to adjust the scroll speed here by moving the slider. So I'm going to move it about halfway down. And then I'm going to try my scrolling speed again. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the center of the web page, choose scroll, and go ahead and scroll up and down using my eyes. When I look down, it moves down. When I look up, it moves up. And I can use the X when I'm finished scrolling. If I want to open up our Bridging Voice website about 11 Labs, I can click here. There we go. And then again, I can use the scroll. This is a longer web page, so it'll be a little easier to see the scroll speed. There we go. There's my voice. There's Deborah. And here are the FAQs. So once I find what I want to read, I can close out of it and then use the mouse control to click on things. And you can see as I click with my eyes, the yellow pointer is also moving around. That's how I know that it's accurate for what I'm looking at.